Okay, now it's split to another video. It's split to another video. So on my Ko-fi, I just do, pictures, memes, short stories, and recipes. And on the blog, I do that. Well, not the pictures and memes because I can't post pictures, but I'll do the short stories and recipes plus nonfiction ebooks plus open talk journaling or like personal essays, and all that. And you know, I've gotten some support, a little bit of support on my Ko-fi, but they said that you can use that as an income and a way to make a living, but you know, it's like I've been trying to get the word out, but you know, not having that much success. Only a little bit. But my blog is clearly shadow banned. My blog is clearly shadow banned. You know, so one thing, they they lifted the mask mandates and stuff like that, and I don't know if I'm still banned from riding the buses, but you know, Alex himself has tried to torment and terrorize me. Alex Dupree, telling me stay off the buses. So for me to not be able to ride the buses that and have to take an Uber everywhere, that's more expensive. But and they perp you on those dirty, filthy, nasty ass buses. You know, and buses that are uncomfortable to ride. But it's like if you're riding those buses, Alex harasses me more. And see, look, freaking more bass. So Alex would harass me even more, when I'm on the streets homeless. Damn. It's like they trying to tempt me to freaking go outside. So Alex, it's easier for him to capture me. It's easier for him to capture me, and when I'm on the streets homeless, or if I have to take those dirty buses, it's easier, for them to capture me and have me set up and locked up in jail or the mental institution. And that'll be the mentally slow, crazy biological families, the narcissistic, gang stalking, mentally slow, crazy biological family members. That's their biggest wet dream. And also Alex Dupree and Star Bricker and the online perps, it's their biggest wet dream for me to be locked up and put away for good in a mental institution or jail or something. And another thing, Wyatt, my twin sister, and the biological brother Sean, it's like they always act like they want to be on some secret stuff. Like, oh, can you keep a secret or this or that? Like, and it's be something dirty that they're doing. Oh, I don't want this person to know I'm doing it, because it's wicked and dirty, you know. So it's like, if I mean, so anyway, you know, and so I'm glad that I'm able to block people's numbers now, because I mean, I'm glad I can block people's numbers now, phone numbers now, because um, now I won't have to worry about, endless harassment and bullying and abuse and stuff like that. That, I can block them out, so I won't have to tolerate that. The repetitive abuse, harassment, and threats, and narcissistic lectures about how, you're telling me that I'm my own worst enemy and stuff like that. You know, but it seems like Wyatt is, a narcissistic perp that pretty much won't change. You know, so I mean, you sit there and laugh at people being demon possessed, or you laugh about people being raped, or even will laugh at somebody who will lie about being raped, or stuff like that. And yeah, I just don't feel comfortable with keeping company with somebody like that, whether or not I share the same DNA with them or not. And then the when he hopped on the phone, with me on April 6th, that author's not your daddy bullshit. He made sure to talk about that towards the beginning of the phone conversation. But yeah, I mean, you don't know for sure. You're just only going by hearsay because you were a tiny little boy, and you could have been just told anything. If you figure that the biological mom, Frances, if you feel like she wasn't mentally right in the head, and she'd say something like, "Oh, Candy and Brandy, they don't belong to Arthur because they're not light skinned like him," and we don't have to do like Yvonne. Like Yvonne was about my skin color, my aunt, and all three of her kids came out light skinned like the dad, but two of them came out with her hair texture and stuff like that. So that's supposed to mean that every child of Arthur Grandpre has to be light skinned too. And Yolanda, my half sister Yolanda, is brown skinned, and so is her daughter Brittany. Brittany is somewhere about the same skin color, somewhere around there. But the family is lying when they laugh about it, especially when you get upset and they laugh about it. Because I heard that being a targeted individual, they, narcissistic gang stalking family members, they lie about who your real dad is, or they'll keep your genealogy hidden and secret from you. But they think they're better by saying the author's not your daddy. But if they're trying to block or hide me, researching family genealogy, because other targets say, well, look, research your family bloodline, or research your lineage and stuff. And Arthur was in the military, fought in the Korean War. And so if I'm supposed to be Arthur's stepchild, illegitimate stepchild, then why am I getting Social Security survivors benefits in his name? If I'm supposed to be an illegitimate stepchild. So I mean, so it's like, I'm wondering if the biological mom Frances turned out the way she turned out, if losing her kids did something to her, and it messed her mind up really bad. If they say she was normal back then, and people would describe her to be a foxy woman, or real good looking, or had it going on, and everything like that. And then, the foster family, the foster mom, made lies, false rumors, and smear campaigns, saying that the biological mom, Frances, was a prostitute, trying to say that Frances the biological sister Belinda and the biological sister Ramona, that they were all three of them were prostitutes, and then saying that telling me and Brandy that we're gonna grow up to be prostitutes and on drugs. Like the foster mom would say, you're gonna grow up to be a prostitute on drugs, just like your mom. Like in New Orleans, your ma is another way of saying your mom, you know. And to drill that in my head that I'm gonna grow up to be, you know, a drug addicted, crazy, homeless prostitute, and that I'm gonna wind up in jail or dead, you know, or that I'm schizophrenic and crazy and stuff. To smear campaign because I was speaking up against your ass, speaking out against you, you know. And so, she wanted to have me falsely labeled as schizophrenia, and she used that. Her and the social worker Miss Karen Pierce teamed up together and told such a lie and smear campaign on purpose so that the foster mom could be getting my checks, my social security checks. And somebody had pointed that out on Twitter, you know, a few days ago. And so the foster mom must have thought she would be my handler until the day I die, and that I would die young or something. And she tried to tell me I'm going to wind up in jail or dead and deserve it. She used to make threats to get me locked up in a mental institution if I stood up to her abuse and tyranny. And so, you know, and so then something else I was going to say, but it slipped my mind. I forgot. But, you know, if the foster mom said, try to make it like as if the biological mom, Frances, was on street drugs, like recreational drugs and psych drugs and, you know, and all that. Well, I don't know if that was true or not, but, you know, I heard that it was a big lie. The biggest lie to lie on biological parents is to say that the parent committed neglect. But I feel like if you got all your kids taken away in batches like that, then you had to have been a targeted individual. But then again, the biological mom, Frances, used to act like when she was, I'm sorry to say, but when she was alive, she used to act like a perp towards me too. You know, doing and saying stuff on purpose to make me mad and stuff. Maybe she was a TI turned perp, the biological mom, Frances. That might have. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. If the biological mom, Frances, was a TI turned perp. But she never really mentioned gang stalking. But I overheard the biological gay brother Mark. He said that Dana used to repeatedly stalk the biological mom, Frances' house every single day. And you know, the foster mom, her sister Mickey, and Dana, they were all abusive, narcissistic perps. You know, and so you know, the fact that the foster mom took the brownie points for raising us all these years, and now I don't exist to her anymore. And you know, in 2017, I wasn't like family to her when I try to go and see about her and stuff like that. And you know, the foster mom, her her daughter Shelly, and the Kraft family and stuff in 2017 or 2018, and dealing with the biological family, like the way they try to ignore you, and you know, treat you like as if your presence is not welcome. Like as if you're invisible or something. So it's like, well, I know I'm not wanted over here. You know. So now they're mad, and I'm the one who's disloyal for speaking out against them and stuff like that. It's like everybody's freaking crooked and dirty. You know. Well, yesterday was somebody who's supposedly a targeted individual asked me on a comment on YouTube last night. The person asked me, well, Why are you blinking your eyes like that? Is that like a glitch or mind control, or is it, medication like psych meds or whatever? And I said, well, I was diagnosed with Tourette's, but I heard that the remote neural monitoring can have you blinking like that too. And like sometimes I may blink my eyes so fast like that and not even be aware or even realizing that I'm blinking my eyes. So that might be proof right there that I have Tourette's, but they try to dismiss that too. But I heard that Tourette's and OCD go in tandem with or hand in hand with you know if they go hand in hand with OCD and Tourette's go hand in hand with the remote neural monitoring. And so I'm not on medicine, and my Tourette's gets worse when I have lack of sleep or sleep deprivation. When I don't have adequate sleep, my Tourette's gets worse. So, I took the detox bath last night, you know. So, I mean, I hate when even other professed targets want to make it like as if I'm such a useless loser and a beggar, and that, if they're homeless, and they be like, well, I'm a homeless TI, and they, for all I know, they could be a fake TI perp that's lying. If they want to make it like, well, I'm a homeless TI and I've never had to ask anybody for money, or I never had to beg anybody for money. But your ass is homeless living in your car, and you can make a little side money with Uber and all that if you wanted to. So I don't have that luxury because I don't have a car. And so if I were to try to take the buses again, I don't know if I might get arrested trying to get on the bus. So, and then to deal with abuse from bus drivers every day. But, now that the mask mandates are lifted, I could almost live cheaper again. Like I can go to my storage unit more often. I can I can get on the bus and eat at cheaper restaurants if I had to be back on the streets. But the thing is, I no longer have overhead protection. And I could go back to getting like another gym membership to get showers every day. But I don't like gym memberships because I don't like to be trapped. But I know somewhere I'm not going to mention where I won't be trapped. So but I don't want to have to, if I go swimming, I don't want my hair, I don't want to, like, I love swimming, but I don't want my hair to be ruined. I don't want my hair to be ruined, Like it was 2 years ago, my hair was very ruined. And it's ruined now, It's ruined, and I mean, I'm trying to not to have to get it all cut off again. Trying not to, but well, I'm scared to even. I mean, I don't know. I'll have to try to figure out if I'm still banned from riding the buses, because if I'm not, then I can go to my storage unit more often, and I can almost live like how I lived in 2019 before all this happened. But the thing that's stopping me is, to not have an overhead, an overhead of protection against bad weather or the rain. And me having to live outside. And I mean, when I was by, that abandoned bank on the streets, that was the perfect spot that I was able to be protected. They changed the abandoned bank to an Asian restaurant. You hear? Look, there they go again with the loud music. So, yeah. So, as long as I don't have an overhead of protection, then I'm gonna have to keep asking for help with hotel and motel. And being a target, it's like you're forced to live. The narcissistic abusers and gang stalkers manipulate you into being forced to have to waste more money. So, more money will be wasted. You know. Um. So, but then they set up to where you can't get a roof over your head because they want 3.5 times the rent, and my income is not enough. And some people think that and the online perps try to make remarks that I'm the richest homeless person that they've seen because I was getting SSI and Social Security plus. Not SSI because they cut that out when you work. Getting Social Security plus having a full-time job. But I was still told that that is not enough for a $700 place. And so when the weather was bad, how can y'all talk about, oh, Candy was the richest homeless person that I've ever met because she can eat at fancy restaurants and go to fancy hotels and stuff like that, and it's like, well, that was with money that I worked for, and I was not begging or asking for any money, and plus that was occasional treat for, a big accomplishment at work. It wasn't a daily thing. I was eating out at restaurants every day because I can't go to homeless soup kitchen because they threaten me with knives or bully me, and I don't want to be arguing and fighting with people 3 times a day, or however. I don't. They don't even really have that many, soup kitchens. Like last I knew, I got kicked out of. Well, I'm not gonna say kicked out of, but I got bullied and mobbed out of the Loaves and Fishes place. I can't go there no more. And at the Washburn Center was where the homeless guy threatened me with a knife. And then they had a perp later on who pulled a knife on me. He pulled a big, huge knife out of his book bag, and we were riding on a bus on the way to the beach, and the bus driver didn't want to do anything about it. When it's like as if he wasn't even around, but then the guy is like, well, if you're a stranger, how do you know about it's like me being threatened with a knife by 2 different people in one day. Yeah, that's gang stalking. Because that guy, the other guy that was on the bus, and he pulled out a big knife. When I turned around and looked back, and he was acting weird, and gang stalking me on the bus for a brief moment. And he was a white guy that looked like a woman and looked androgynous, and it was okay for him to have a doggone job at the beach. But as far as I know, your ass is a doggone gang stalking criminal. It's like he wasn't even around when the other guy pulled a knife on me. So it's like, well, how do you know? How did you know that happened? Maybe the gang stalking network must have given him a message or something. I don't know. But, I would hate for tonight to have to be my last night to get to sleep here. And then tomorrow I have to pack up and leave. I would hate that. I would love to have, help with 150 or $160 more, to cover like another week to stay here. and still getting no job opportunities, you know. So what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to live or survive that even other professed targets act like as if, you know, like as if they don't want me to even ask for help? Or people who say that they're Christian, it's like people ain't trying to help keep me afloat. But, you know, the perps want me on the streets and starving. The narcissistic perps think that this is the punishment that I deserve. You know, and I'm just, I mean, that's why I said, like, with my writing, it seems like as if it's volunteer work that nobody pays attention to, you know, about my writings and stuff like that. And I'm shadow banned. My blog must be a threat to the system. That, you know, the narcissistic perps want to make sure that I'm ignored and that nobody pays attention to me. You know, but I'm praying, you know, against ending up back on the streets. And some other targets, you know, they say don't ever let the perps make you homeless again, or don't let them, you know, put you back on the streets again. But it looks like, you know, well, if it would have to be the case that I didn't get any additional help with $160 or $150, if I didn't have, I mean, even if it's 2 people that can help me with 75, or maybe 3 people can help me with $50 each, you know, if that's the case, then I'm gonna have to, you know, pack up and be back on the streets